Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Foxy298 here. Welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today, we are here with development diary number 2 of my Gunderdome game project. Now, if you guys have not watched the first episode, which was about a month ago now, so it wouldn't surprise me if some of you have forgotten or just not watched it the first time. So basically, for university, I am currently in my final year of computer games design studies. Within that, we have to create a game which will last all the way up until June, which is the submission time. And then obviously if we're happy with our game, we can continue to develop that and release it publicly to all of you guys, so you can jump along and play it. In the previous episode, which I will try and leave a link in the description to, I'll probably forget though, I'll leave a link to that first video, and eventually there'll be a playlist that will be released of the development diaries, and you can see how we get along from there. But today, we're going to be basically going through what's been going on over the past month. What have I been doing? What have I been making? And how is it all coming along, really, is what we're going to be doing today. So, let's get into it. So, as you can see, we're using the Unreal Engine. This is what the engine provider that we're using to create this game. If you don't know what the Unreal Engine is, this is the engine that Epic Games used to create Fortnite. So obviously if you play Fortnite, it was built using this exact same engine. So that's what the engine that we're using. If you do actually want to go ahead and get the engine yourself, it's completely free. As long as you've got Epic Games in your tab down the bottom. So if I just typed it in for you now, and if I just, scroll along here, I can't type to save my life. You can see you've got the Epic Games launcher. I really don't need Bing either. That's a no. I'll load it up for you now whilst I'm explaining this, but you can just get it yourself. So yeah, you can see here, look, I'm already logged in, which is fine. And you've got the Unreal Engine. It's like the first tab that you can get. So anyone can get it. It's free to use, and you can literally make whatever you want. It's a lot of fun, and I recommend it if you guys are interested. But anyway, so where are we at with Gunderdome? How are we doing? What are my other friends doing? My nose is so itchy, and I don't know why. But yeah, anyway, so what have we been up to? Don't worry about all these random lines firing off everywhere. Don't worry about those. So, first of all then, we've had a setback with our game, which is a very big pain. Now, when it comes to the game itself, we've got a set of designers, and then there's a bunch of artists that have the option to come along and help make the game. Now, what would the artists do necessarily is, for an example, I've got a 3ds Max file open here. If you're unaware of what 3ds Max is, basically, this is where you can go ahead and you can create a 3D model, and you can go ahead and flatten this out, and then you can go ahead and texture the entire model here. Now, obviously, we've done a job here in which we have gone ahead and presented our game to the artists that are in our university. After presenting that to our university, we went ahead and simply said, contact us if you'd like to be a part of this, and we would go from there, and that's how it would work. Unfortunately, when we did that, no one was really interested in performing in the art department of our game. Now, it's not compulsory for the artists to do this. The artists do not in any way have to go and be a part of our game. They can do, well, whatever the hell they want, really. So they can go ahead and make, or do whatever, really. I think this is only like 20% of their grade or something like that. I'm not really sure how much it goes towards, but the artist didn't really want it. Overall, it seemed like what the artists wanted was they wanted to create something that was of a realistic type of art style, because we wanted to go sort of around a retro art style. A lot of people feel and felt, especially in the arts department after having conversations, that if you made something that was retro, it wouldn't be as good as if you made something realistic, which in some ways is kind of true, but if you make something retro and it's really, really good, you're going to get the same grade. But nonetheless, we didn't get it, and that's a setback. So why is that such a major setback for our game? Now, obviously, like I've got this Max file open here, we as designers were expecting the artists to make the enemies, and then to texture the enemies, and then we would import them into the engine, which is what we've got here. And then from there, we would obviously go ahead and, yes, I'd like to save that. We'd go ahead and we'd move from there. That would be the next case. I think I just froze it. That's wonderful. So once we've got, basically, what it means is we can focus fully on designing this game. We can get everything nailed down. We can sketch out levels, give it to the artist. We can sketch out weapons, give that to the artist. We can work on the in-game core mechanics, and we can basically make further progress with our game. And unfortunately, with not having any artists on board, we physically can't do that. It basically means now We have to make the enemies. We've got to model them, we've got to texture them, we've got to import them, and it just leaves us with a lot more work to do, basically. And, okay, it did manage to save. That's cool. It's not ideal in the slightest. Okay, Unreal had a bit of a freeze. That's why it's compiling my shaders. That's fine. So overall, it really hasn't been a fun journey for us in that sense. But on the positive side of things, we've taken a new step towards making this game. So obviously with the artist, what we were intending on doing was we were going to have lots of different types of enemies, different weapons, levels, and all of that. And we can still keep to it. There's nothing to say that we can't do this. However, what we just have to do now is we've just got to take a step back and give ourselves less work to do and then continue to push forward with it. So, for an example, if we go to the enemies folder here, which is what I've been making at the moment. In fact, I need to make a new folder, basic underscore enemy, because I need to store the enemy. I need to store these 3 enemy points into this folder by there. Just move them. That's not hard. There we go. And then in terms of the blueprints here, once again, I want to get this one and put it into the basic enemies there. So this is really just the contents file that I'm working through now. And it's basically just where you can get all your stuff up to scratch and just basically move it into places and tidy your stuff up, really, to be honest, and leave it from there. So why can't you be moved? Okay, fine. Don't move then. Not necessarily needed there. So as you can see here, so if we go through, so we currently have got 3 types of enemies in. So the first one we've got is the standard simple bull enemy. As you can see here, this is what it looks like. It's just a very simple bull with a nice ring around it. And as you can see within our level over here, we have got the bull enemy in place. There's about like 10 million of them because I've just put them all in there for the start with. So obviously from the first episode, frozen again, it's trying to compile all these shaders. You can see we've got plenty of these ball enemies, and as you can see, if I go ahead and grab a few of them here and start throwing them on the other side of this barrier, now you're probably wondering, why is this barrier here? Now for testing purposes, obviously if I'm going to be playing my level around here, I don't want them to just all start flying at me and cause distractions whilst I'm trying my hardest to actually still create the level. So if I just chuck a couple of them over, let's get you. Let's get this second one over. When we click play now, you can see that there's 2 things that have been made. Now, don't worry about what the screen looks like because it hasn't compiled all my shaders. It's not quite done what we wanted it to do. But as you can see here, the 2 standard bull enemies will continue to chase our player. And it's really, really cool to see that. So you can see here that they'll continue to chase me. And their target specifically is to go after myself. They are to go after nobody else. And as you can see here, this barrier just stops everyone from getting in the way. Now, the new things that we have made to our game. First of all, in the top right-hand corner of your screens, you can see that we have got a health system now. We've got a health bar which is in place with an icon which says 100 HP. And at the moment, we are now keeping the health standard at 100 HP. Beforehand, I was looking to make this go to 150 HP. Don't worry about those balls flying. It's quite funny, and we're leaving it in there for a reason. I'll show you in a minute. And, well, you saw that first bit there. But they're going to be stuck at 100 HP, and we're going to leave it like that. So, obviously, I was going to, initially, was going to create it so it had 150 HP. However, when working through the health system itself, it was causing a lot of problems for us. So, well, when I say for us, I mean for me. I'll explain why I mean just me. Ow. Get off me. In a second. Stage number 2 of all of this is the health pickup system. So as you can see, we've got 2 health pads right here. So we've got one which is here, and it's got a nice, you can see a random red box around it. The second one is right by here, once again with yet another red box. Now, why have they got red boxes on them? That's because of the pickup system. So if I move one of these over here, I think I've got an exploding AI somewhere around. Unless it's over. It should be on that side by now. I hope it is anyway. So anyway, if I go ahead and have a look at this health pickup, you can see once again, ignore the one here that says droid me up daddy. I was really tired yesterday on Monday because I was in university at 8 o'clock in the morning and I left at 10 o'clock at night and I've been working all day. I was tired and I just decided to call it droid me up daddy. It's enough said. We will not talk about it. This one hasn't actually been completed yet. This is the next one that I'm working on. But if we have a look over at our blueprint section, over at our health pickup, you can see here that we have got the health pickup in place. So this is the health pad. And all I've done to create this actually is, I will show you. So in the viewport here, we have got the two meshes that we've created, which are as follows. It's these two, weapon health and pickup and weapon health pad. They're the two here, and I've clicked and dragged them in, and they've gone in like that. And as you can see, that is there. Now this box here is just called, it's just a collision box basically. So the purpose of a collision box is when a player goes over and they make contact with that box. So if my character makes any form of contact with this red box, which is going to be invisible in game. So obviously if I go into game now, you aren't going to see the box. Like, you won't know it's there. Like, when you're playing the game, you're not going to see it. It's just going to be invisible for you. So you kind of got to sort of just sit there and well, accept it really. And for some reason, there is a ball that is hitting me, and I don't know why. Yeah, it's just hitting. Okay, I'll have to look at that. Bit of a bug. How well. Gotta have those bugs in there. But the health pickup is specifically there. So when you're playing the game, the purpose of the health pad is simple. You're going to obviously lose health by being attacked by these enemies. Now, with these enemies, it means that we need to make sure that there's a way for you to get some health back. Now, these health pickup pads, at the moment, are doing 20 HP worth of health. Now, remember, throughout this entire development diary and with severe and heavy play testing, we're going to be making sure that we get the perfect balance on what damage the AIs will produce, and obviously what type of health that we're looking to take away from the player, and then how much play we want to add, how much health we want to add back for the player. And obviously here, there is a massive event graph, which is called a blueprint. Now this is how it all works, and this is how we program everything through. So for the health system here, you can see that this is just a rotation. So now you'll see that the little health symbol is rotating on sideways. This here is just an event tick system, and I've got the weapon and health box, and it's simply just adding a rotation. You can see on the Z axis, it just rotates. So when I'm playing the game now, you can see that that health is just rotating. If I move this stupid ball out of my way so he doesn't interrupt me while I show you, you'll see here that it is moving nicely. And you can see that, look at that. There's the rotation coming on through. It's just a simple little blueprint. Make the thing move around, just add a little bit of dynamic to it. That's what that's been done for. Now, the second thing that I've gone ahead and created within the time period, I could show you the AI color material. This is a material that we're looking to use for our game. Now, we haven't actually applied this to the whole of all of the AIs yet, because if you're someone that is designing games, or you're just interested and you want to know how the development cycle works, when it comes to creating a game, adding textures and colors is the last thing you want to do to your level. It's actually interesting how it works. So throughout this entire development diary, you're pretty much going to be seeing this exact same blank old template. Now, don't worry, it's not going to be this bland, grey color. It will be fully textured, and it will have a proper landscape to it. Now, obviously, for testing purposes, you need to make sure that it's all in place. But if I drag over this little guy over into our level, and we'll go and give this guy a little hello when my level wants to load up. This is the texture called AI Color, which is a translucent texture that we want to use. Now, obviously, for the game, we're going to be looking at creating AIs with lots of color. And you can see here, look at that type of color. It looks nice and quite vibrant, and it's obviously going to have some blasters coming out of it, which is going to make it look really, really cool. And you can see it there, look, just sort of with that theme. So with this enemy AI, the actual aim that we want to create for this one is where the two barrels are sticking out right by here. You can see that there's one barrel on the one side, and then there's one barrel on the other side. And what we want to do with this AI, which I haven't actually made yet, is make it so that it actually shoots the player. That's what we wanted to do. So we want this AI to chase the player around and basically create a turret system. So eventually, I can jump upwards, and the blast and the two turrets that are on the side will sort of jump up with it, and sort of it's sort of like that. It's like a robot style, so it only can go up and downwards. And obviously, if it's turning, the whole ball will just turn, and it just keeps going up and down just like this. And it's just going to make it really, really cool. Basically, like I said, it's just going to be a turret at the end of the day. And it's something, again, we wanted to add a new dynamic of set of enemies that will really frustrate a player. And as you can see here, there's now a random ball that's in the game, which is awesome. They're all getting flipped up. They're all getting flipped up by that enemy there, which I'll show what he does in a minute. Ow. So that's what the texturing does. So that's what we want to do with this guy. So I'll talk a little bit about where we're planning to go in the future. But for now, I'm going to leave him over there, and we're going to move on to the next one, which is the big balls. Sounds wrong. But anyway, this guy, are you the right guy? You are the right guy. So The next thing that we've created, we'll move away from that for just a second. I'll just need to find where I've actually done it. It's right by here. So, within the FPS HUD, which hopefully it loads up, it's a little bit slow at the moment. As you can see here, this is where the user interface comes into play. And this is where you can go ahead and you can literally put anything you want into the game. And as you can see, I've gone ahead and done a graph here. And it basically is just, this is actually a completely different thing. This is for health purposes. But there is a node somewhere, and it basically just means that this FPS HUD will go onto the first-person character. If I can get it up, I will show it for you. Obviously, I'm going to be showing you literally this entire development, so it's awesome if you guys get the chance to see it. And you can see like, how much blueprint work. This is all stuff that I've had to go in and physically code myself, so it's not as easy as you think to sort it all out. I think it's up here for the user interface, yeah. So as you can see here, we've gone ahead and used an event begin play, which is very, very standard. So what that means is as soon as the game has just started, there is obviously, I needed, now with the Unreal Engine in terms of the blueprints, event begin play you can't use twice. You can only have this one blueprint system in once, and once you try to add a second one in, like if I tried to add in event begin play, it will be there, but it will remove, it will show me that one, so you cannot have two. To get that, to have multiple of those, we have something called a sequence. Now, a sequence allows for just multiple pinpoints to be added to different sections. So, you have one event begin play, you click and you drag it across to there, and that's how it works on that front. I'll compile it because it's the same thing. And then obviously, here it now means that I can drag off this node, so it means that this FPS HUD widget blueprint and this branch widget blueprint now can all use the event begin play section. It's complicated because you've never seen this before, unless you've used the engine. We go from there. So this here is create FPS HUD widget. Now this blueprint means that it's a case of, obviously you can see here, I've set the class to FPS HUD, and this is obviously here, FPS HUD, and then first person character, add it to the viewport, add it to the user's viewport. So it means that when we're playing the game, all of my stuff is going to be added to the viewport, such as the minimap and also the health bar system. And that's how that all works in there. It's a very clever and cool system, and I thought I'd just show you that one. So as you can see here, up in the top, we have got the health system. So we've got a health bar which is in place. We'll start with the number. You can see the text goes up to 100, and it's also got a binding on it. So if I go to the binding itself, it probably won't let me show it, which is great. I will close that because I didn't want to save what was there in the first place. But it's got a binding on it, which means that it's connected to other stuff. That's what a binding stands for. Yeah, sure, compiler, it will still work, I hope. Otherwise, I might have broken it. We'll find out. Let me just jump into all these guys to see. Did you hurt? Do you hurt? Yeah, you still hurt. You still hurt me. Cool. Awesome. And you can see here that it's connected to my health. So, let's see if I can find it. I don't think I can. No. So, anyway, what this has done is basically, it is connected to my health bar. So, as my health bar drops down, my health text will also drop with it. Now, futuristic, when it comes to the future of this game itself, you are not going to have a health text when you play the game. When you play the game, you're going to have a health bar system, which is just this bar here. However, it's just going to be expanded. Basically, we just don't want to take up too much of the user interface. If you feel like, because obviously, if we want to make sure that you guys are playing the game, you can let me know in the comment section down below. With this health icon here, would you rather have just the bar as your health, or would you rather have the health text and the bar? Now, I'm not going to have just the health text on its own. It just doesn't look quite cool enough. I do like having the bar in place, plus it took a while to make it. So yeah, if you want both of them in place, we'll keep them in place, but at the moment, it just means that it just uses up a little bit more user interface than it probably should do. And then the next thing that we have made is a mini-map, which is in the bottom here. Now, this one's a lot harder to actually make. It took a little bit of a while to do it. Now, to make the mini-map, I've got it all here. So, this is the arrow, so we don't need to worry about that. So, how to make it is you have to make a rendering target. And once you've made the rendering target, that is a timer for food. Once you go into there, obviously in the blueprints, if I go to my character, I've gone ahead and created a second camera, which is all the way up there. Basically, by doing that, it shoots it down and it shows off the image of the map itself. And then the arrow is basically just tracked to stay with the player. So as you can see here, it just jumps around and it's just following my character. And you can see it in the bottom corner there. Nice mini-map, and you can see where you are going. Now, next up then is the final thing to look at for what we have been doing is this giant ball right here. Now, this is our slowdown ball. So this ball is going to be big. It also has a rotation on it. You can see it there. coming towards me, and it's very, very menacing. And obviously, eventually, we're going to try and see if we can smoothen out the AI ball itself, because it looks a little bit slow. You can see here that when it goes over towards me, I've got a string. It now slows my speed down. After a few seconds, boom, I'm back up to high speed again. This ball is specifically going to be used basically to annoy the player. In other words, it's a case of, right, I've been slowed down, and now I'm going fast again. And now you can see there it says walking normal and walking slow. That's what we like to call a print string. Now, a print string basically just tells you if something's actually working correctly. So if I go into slow down ball and have a look at the blueprint for you, you can see once again all these complicated things of just annoyance and stuff. But as you can see, we've obviously got stuff in here which allows for this ball to basically slow down the player. And it will obviously take its time to actually get to you. Now, whether I made this in this section or if I probably actually made it in the first-person character more than anything, I'm not quite sure, honestly, where I made the blueprint. Probably down here. If it's not, who knows where it is. That's for something else. Probably it's somewhere. They're all in mixed-up places. You guys will get the feature down the line. And this blueprint here, basically, every time this character goes down to 0 HP, they're dead, but it won't obviously kill them off. Last thing then to show you guys for today is going to be the damage effect. Now you can see that we've got a red vignette text. Now this is one that I actually got off of a YouTube video that I was looking at a tutorial on how to get this animation through. Now I just want to officially confirm this, guys, to you right now. There is not going to be a blood splatter on the screen. At the moment, this is a placeholder. Futurely down the line, all this red is going to change to blue, and all of these blood splatter spots are going to change to electric lightning. We don't want to have blood splatter on the screen. We feel, obviously, like we said, this game is going to be targeted at 18 to 34-year-olds. Now, that doesn't mean to say that anyone younger cannot play it. Basically, the reason it's targeted at that age group is because it's a shooter. When you go into a retail and you play Call of Duty, it's an 18 as a PEGI rating. So that's where we're targeting a shooter audience at. But obviously, there's people on Call of Duty that are squeakers and balls haven't dropped yet. So obviously, they're still allowed to play it. So obviously, we don't want to create blood and violence. That's not the aim of the game. So with all of these enemy AIs, in terms of their explosion when they get killed, they're just going to be an electric pulse. And we really want to go with that bright coloration, sort of like this with the electric as well. So this red vignette that's there right now, so when a player gets hit by an enemy, I'll wait for one to get flung over, because I'm pretty sure one of them is going to eventually. There you go, one gets flung over. It hits me, takes away health, hits, takes away health, and you can see my health there, 20 HP. Eventually I'm going to die, walking slow. I've just been hit by one of those ones. You can see that I'm slowed down now, I'm under a bit of pressure here. I'll wait for this one, boom, and as you can see, I'm down to 0 HP. Any more, then I'm just dead at this point. And you can see that I can pick up health and continue on from there. And that is pretty much where we're at with this project so far. So, in terms of the future, obviously, we're going to be looking to expand and develop. At the moment, I'm the one that's making all of these mechanics for our game. My friend who are on this project as well, Luke and Will. Will is currently creating the main menu. He's working really hard on that. It's a really difficult thing to create. You'd think it'd be easy to make a main menu. It really isn't. And then my friend Luke is not only doing a bit of weapon work, he is also having a look at creating his own level to put into the game. He'd like to design a level. His is going to be the hardest level out of all of them in the release of the game. So he's obviously got a little bit of work to make it difficult. And yeah, we're pushing on from there. In terms of my future plans at the moment, I've got the exploding ball AI, which I just made this morning, actually. I don't know which one it is, because it's very, very... There he is. He's lower down. So this is the exploding ball AI. Move him across over here. As you can see, if he comes up towards me, he's going to explode, boom, takes away health, and he disappears from the thing. Eventually, I'm going to look to try and create a blast radius for him, so that if he's a bit further away, he will do less damage. If I can't do that, then I'll just change the radius and change the health system on that front. Next step then is obviously I'm going to be working on the enemy Droid Me Up Daddy, and basically get those turret firing working. Then obviously I'm going to be looking at trying to get a missile launcher enemy in place, and then pretty much get the projectiles to start destroying the enemies, and then start working on a point scoring system, because there'll be a leaderboard, so you can see how long you spent in that level. But obviously you may have spent like 3 hours in the game but not done anything, so obviously there's going to be a point system as well. Strong progress so far. There's been a lot of ups and downs downs. There's been little things that have been setting us back, but we're making some very, very good progress. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the second episode of my Gunderdome development diary. If you have, feel free to drop it a like, subscribe if you are new around here as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Whenever I obviously make significant progress, I will update you guys on that. Let me know when you want these development diaries. Obviously, this one has been a month since the other one, but if you want them every single week, I can do them every single week, every 2 weeks, 2 weeks, whatsoever. Let me know, and I'll keep doing the development diaries, even if there's not really many changes. But until then, guys, I will see you then. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care, all. Peace.